This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Bruchim Abayim. Welcome everyone to the Wednesday share. There's no share this evening because this week's share is going to be Thursday night for Lag BaOmer. Also, we had a share Sunday night, Lechem Rabbi Meir's yard site. So there's no regular Wednesday night share. Actually, tonight is the Shloshim of my grandfather, Rabbi Glatstein, so the learning should be a little nishmasai. So this shir will not be repeated. This is it. We're recording this shir. So make sure, if anyone has anything to say, make sure it's good, because it will be recorded for posterity. And then your grandchildren are going to hear it, and they're going to say, Zayda, what kind of question was that? You know, so if you're welcome to ask questions, but make sure it's good. So we would like to uncover a new Remez, an amazing Remez, to Lag BaOmer in Parshas Emor. We know that Parshas Emor is always the Parsha of Lag BaOmer. We're going to speak tomorrow night. We know Lag BaOmer is also the yard site of the Ramah, and one of the Remazim is Emor is Oisios Ramah. But we want to try to find the Remez in the Parsha to the great day of Lag BaOmer. The Mishnah tells us in Pirkei Avos that the Torah is acquired in 48 ways. Torah is greater than kahuna. Raise your hand if you're a Kohen. Any Kohanim here?
Nope.
Nope.
Yes.
Who's yes?
Me.
Me? Jason. So it's a good thing you came. Okay, good. Raise your hand if you're a melech, if you're a king in Israel. I didn't think so. You're not even a king in your own house, so forget about the Jewish people. Okay. And then we have the Torah. The Torah is greater than kahuna and is greater than malchus. The malchus is acquired with 30 attributes. Kahuna is acquired with 24 attributes. And the Torah is niknes b'memches devarim. The first thing is Talmud, learning. That means as follows. Many people, they want to become a Talmud Chacham. If you're going to sit on your couch and you're going to want to become a Talmud Chacham, it's not going to do anything. You know why? Because you have to actually learn. The first step of acquiring Torah is you have to actually learn. Number 2, you have to actually listen. Number 3, you have to say the words. And the Mishnah delineates 48 ways with which to acquire Torah. And we're going to be learning from the amazing Sefer of Rabbi Yosef Engel, as we did on Monday. And Rabbi Yosef Engel is one of the great Rabbanim in Krakow, and the Minog in Krakow is on Lag BaOmer, which is the yard site of the Ramah. The Rav would give a drasha, that was one of the major drashas of the year, in the Beis HaKnesses of the Ramah. Actually, I had the zechus a few years ago to give a drasha in the Ramah Shul. It was not Lag BaOmer, but it was the yard site of one of the other great luminaries of Krakow, namely the Megala Amukos. I believe it was Yud Aleph Av. Well, the Rabbi Yosef Engel was a Rav in Krakow, and he says, "V'hinei inyan hanal hayos liyoim Lag BaOmer be'pratiyusai b'kechol yimei asfira b'chlal v'zeh ma'alosei aleihem." He says this is the attribute and the greatness of the lofty day of Lag BaOmer. He says, "V'zeki hasfira kula la'omer. V'inei kvar kosavnu ki ikar asfira kafi b'chinas atzmeinu hu memches yom kineged memches mailoi shatar niknes b'hem." The 48 days of Sfira corresponds to the 48 ways to acquire Torah. V'hinei elu ha-memches malois dehem Hechsher kinyan ha-Torah, yesh lo gam kein inyan al pi ha-mavur b'medrash Rabbah, d'shtei haluchos, heim keneged Moshe and Aaron. Okay, so the first revelation is that the 48 ways to acquire Torah correspond to the 48 days of Sfira. And the 49th day is like a general review. The 49th day is the Chazara for all the other 48. We learned earlier on Monday from Rabbi Yosef Engel that if there are 50 gates of wisdom, the Gemara in Rosh Hashanah says, Chamishim Shari Bina, Nivru Ba'olam, and they are all given to Moshe except for one. So if Moshe had 49, then Rabbi Yosef Engel advances a principle that an individual has to be one less than the tzibor, like we find by a carbon mincha, that the most that could be brought in one kli is 61 by the tzibor, so then an individual cannot bring more than 60. So if Moshe had 49, then Klal Yisrael has 48. That's why they're 48 Nevi'im. And the reason why Sfira is actually 49 days, Rabbi Yosef Engel said, is Moshe Rabbeinu, in his graciousness and his generosity, even though we're not really eligible for the 49th level, he gave it over to us. But now we're going to explain the 48 ways in the context of the two luchais are keneged Moshe and Aaron. As the Medrash says, Shnei luchais ha'edos, mahu shnei luchais, keneged shamayim va'aretz, keneged chasen mekala, keneged shnei shushvinon, keneged oil mazev oil maba. The two luchais are keneged heaven and earth, keneged chasen and kala, keneged the two shoshvinon, which refer to Moshe and Aaron. Let's explain. The pasuk says as follows: V'chol bekar zavach hashalomim, and all the cattle for the carbon shlomim, esrim ve'arba'a parim, elim shishim atudim shishim, kvasim leishana shishim, za'is chanukas hamizbeach acharei himashach oisai. 24 shlomim. Says the Ramah, the holy Ramah, in his Sefer Toras Ha'olah, Bekar Zevach Hashlamim Arba Ve'esrim, Keneged Moshe and Aaron. Moshe brought down the Torah for Yisrael, and he divided it into 24 books. Aaron accepted 24 Matnas Kuhuna. Marv Rabbi says a very interesting principle. Both Moshe and Aaron correspond to the number 24. Moshe brought down 24 books, Chav Daled Sifrei Tanakh, and Aaron has Chav Daled Matnas Kuhuna. Now, what does this have to do with the luchais? Says Rabbi Yosef Engel, the haluchais hine yonam klal haTorah. The luchais were the Torah encapsulated, the whole principle of the Torah. Uchemevuar b'chav daled the Aseres Hadibros Kolim Kala Torah. In many ways, the Ten Commandments incorporate the whole Torah. So Moshe and Aaron together incorporate the whole Torah. The reason why the Torah has 48 kinyanim is Keneged Moshe and Aaron, which are the 48 ways. Moshe 24 books, Aaron 24 manas kahuna. As the Ramah says on the pasuk, Esrim ve'arba'a, corresponding to Moshe of the 24 books of the Chumash, Zichru Toras Moshe, and therefore, even though technically Moshe Rabbeinu only gave us 5 books, but the whole Tanakh comes under the umbrella category of Moshe Rabbeinu, and Aaron, his inyan, was the 24 Manas Kahuna. So we see Moshe and Aaron both represent the number 24. Well, Rabbi Yosef Engel finds an amazing allusion to the state of these two 24s. Says Rabbi Yosef Engel, on the pasuk in Yeshaya, V'samti chad chayid shimshoy sayich ushe'arayich la'avnei yaktach v'chol gevulech la'avnei chayf. Let's say that 10 times fast. V'samti chad chayid shimshoy sayich. Say that twice fast. Good luck with that. Right? V'samti chad chayid shimshoy sayich. So what is this referring to? Rabbi Yosef Engel cites the Gemara in Baba Basra. The Gemara in Baba Basra says, Zakenim sheba'osei hadar amru. The elders of that generation, they said, Pnei Moshe k'pnei Chama. The face of Moshe is like the sun. Pnei Yehoshua k'pnei Levana. Yeshua's face was like the moon. Oila la'oisa busha, oila la'oisa klima. Woe to that embarrassment, woe to that shame. Moshe is compared to the sun. How about Aaron? What is Aaron compared to?
Moon.
Well, Yehoshua is compared to the moon. What about Aaron? I don't know, is Aaron Venus, Neptune, Jupiter?
Stars.
Well, the Vayikra Rabbah says, V'chol makom who makdim Moshe Aaron. It always puts Moshe before Aaron. Of a Machon Maggid Harakiah, who Aaron and Moshe. And in one place it says Aaron and Moshe Malam Sheshneim Shavin. They're both equal. So if Moshe was like the sun, then what was Aaron like? Aaron was also like the sun. Well, says Rabbi Yosef Engel, V'zeh Remez HaKosav V'samti Charchoid Shimshoi Sayich. Chazal say Moshe was like the sun, and Aaron was Shakol K'Moshe, because sometimes it says Moshe first and then it says Aaron, sometimes it says Aaron first and then it says Moshe. If so, since they're equal, Aaron is also like the sun. This is what it means. V'samti Charchoid Shimshoi Sayich. That means I'm going to give you your two sons, Shimshoi Sayich, your two sons, namely Moshe and Aaron, Chad Choid, 24, 24. Your two sons are each 24. Your two great luminary sons are both 24. Moshe are the 24 books of Tanakh, and Aaron are the 24 books of Kehuna. So, they're both 24. Moshe is 24, and Aaron is 24. The Gemara in Baba Basra says, on the pasuk, V'samti chad choid shimshoi sayich, Amar Rab Shmuel bar Nachmeni, Pligi trei malachi berakia. Two angels disagree in the heaven. They namely Gabriel uMichael. The Amrilan, some say trei Amorav Marava, two rabbis in the Eretz Yisrael. Uman in Inhun, who are they? Yehuda v'Chizkiah. V'chuza b'nei Rab Chia. Chad Amar Shoyam, v'chad Amar Yashpei. Some say Chad Choid is Shoyam, and some say it's Yashpei. What is the meaning of this? Says Rabbi Yosef Engel, V'zehu b'shas Baba Basra. He quotes this Gemara, that there's a machlokes, what's Chad Choid? Either Michael and Gabriel argue, or Yehuda and Chizkiah. And what some say it's Shoyam, some say it's Yashvei. Amar Lahu HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Lahavi Kedin u'Kedin. They're both true. Dahainu d'shnei MMH. Shekein Shoyam Yashvei. Shoyam and Yashvei is a remez to Moshe and Aaron. How? Shoyam are the words Moshe. Yashpei is yesh peh. There's a mouth, like it says about Aaron, Hu yeh lecha lepeh. He will be your mouth. So Hashem says, regarding the machlokes of Chad Choid, is it Shoyam or Yashvei? They're both true. Again, this is another remez to Moshe and Aaron. Moshe is Shoyam, Moshe's Oisya is Shoyam, and Aaron is the mouth. The Yashpei, Nidrash Kach Chazal Yesh Peh Hainu Binyamin, who had a pet to tell Yaakov about the Mechiras Yosef, and he was quiet. And therefore, we could darshan it Yesh Peh. According to this, the first 24 days of Sfira are connected the first 24 books of Tanakh, of Moshe Rabbeinu. So the first day, Rabbi Isai, of Sfira is Bereshis. The second day of Sfira is Shemais. The third day is Vayikra. The fourth is Bamidbar. The fifth is Devarim. The sixth is Yehoshua, and so on and so forth. Ulafizeh, and according to this, the last 24 days correspond to the 24 Manas Kahuna of Aaron, because Moshe always goes before Aaron. So now, if you understand where we're heading now, we're going to try to figure out which one of the Manas Kahuna correspond to Lag BaOmer, because maybe that will give us a insight into the essence of the day of Lag BaOmer. L'chayra, it should be the 9th of the Manas Kahuna. The first 24 days of Sfira correspond to the first 24 books of Tanakh, and the 9th Matana L'Koyen will correspond to Lag BaOmer. So the Gemara in Chulen says on Daf Kuf Lamed Gimel Amud Beis, the Tanya Esrim v'Arba Manas Kahunahin. There are 24 gifts. V'Kula Nitnul Arnol Vanov B'Chlal U'Prat. Uvris Melach, meaning Kala Makaiman Kilo Kiyem B'Chlal U'Prat U'Bris Melach. V'Oivram Kilo Oivral B'Chlal U'Prat U'Bris Melach. Here they are. You ready? Ve'Elohein. Eser b'mikdash, 10 in the temple, v'arba b'Yushalayim, 4 in Jerusalem, v'eser b'gvulim, and another 10 outside. Eser b'mikdash, chatos, v'chatos ha'oif, asham vadai, asham taloi, zivchei shamei tzibur, loig shemen shel metzora, shtei halechem, lechem hapanim, v'shiyarei menachos, u'minchas ha'omer. So, let's try that one more time. They are the chatos ha'oif, number 3 asham vadai, number 4 asham taloi, number 5 zivchei shamei tzibur, number 6 loig shemen shel metzora, number 7 shtei halechem, number 8 lechem hapanim, number 9 shiarei mincha, number 10 uminchas ha'omer. Asks Rashi, Oimer loy chashav le b'hadei shar menachos. The minchas ha'omer is not included in the other menachos. Minchas tzibur, meishu minchas tzibur nikmetzes, because you do a kmitza v'necheles ve'ein lecha oid v'tzibur. It's not part of the tzibur v'shiur menachos of a yachid. Now, says Rabbi Yosef Engel, the al-karchach yesh lachshav harishonim keneged Moshe v'achronim keneged Aaron. What are the 24 matnas kahuna? Chulin daf kuf lamed gimel amud beis. Minchas ha'omer hu chi. Minchas ha'omer is number 9. Legirsas Rashi sham the makdim omer l'shiar menachos. The minchas ha'omer is 9. V'im kein nimtza diyoim lag ba'omer u'keneged minchas ha'omer. Isn't that amazing? Lag ba'omer corresponds to the carbon ha'omer. That means that lag ba'omer is sort of the essence of the zman of omer. The zman of omer was kick-started with the carbon, which was brought on the second day of Pesach, but really lag ba'omer corresponds to that carbon. So that is why lag ba'omer is, so to speak, the most central day of the Yimei HaSfira. Al-Karchach Yom Lag Ba'omer Hu B'Pratiyusa K'chol Yimei HaSfira B'Chlal. The Chol HaSfira Hu La'omer. The whole sphere is for the Omer. V'Lo Yom Lag Ba'omer is Keneged the Omer. Therefore it's Keneged all the days of Sfira. So far so good. It comes out rather amazing that the day of Lag Ba'omer corresponds to the 9th matana lekahuna, namely the minchas ha'omer. However, we are not done, because if you look in Baba Kama Kuf Yoram and Beis Tashma Esrim Yarba Manas Kahuna Nitnal Arno Vanum Kol Nitna Bechal Prado Klal Bris Melach Kol Makam Kilam Makam Klal Prado Klal Bris Melach Kol Oiver Aleim Kilo Oiver Al Klal Prado Bris Melach. Here they are. Elohein Eser b'Mikdash, 10 in the temple, Dal Rishalayim, 10 b'Gvulin, Eser b'Mikdash, Chatos behema, Chatos ha'oif, Asham badai, Asham taloi, Zivchei shamei tzibur, number 6 v'loig shemen, Moisar ha'oimer, Shtei alechem 8, Lechem hapanim, number 9. The Lechem hapanim is the 9th matana lekahuna. Says the Gemara Menachos, the chav ches kanim kechatzi kanacholo. There are 28 half pipes in the lechem hapanim. Arba also l'seder zeh, 14 for this order. V'yodal l'seder zeh, loy sider kanim v'loy netilasim deichas haShabbos. None of these procedures push off Shabbos. Ela nichnas me erev Shabbos. You enter erev Shabbos v'shoimtoi, and you slip it out. V'noisnen la'arka shel shulchan. You put the bread on the length of the shulchan. Kala akelim shoy b'mikdash arkan la'archa shel bayis. Now, what are we going to do with this, Rabbi Say? Says Rabbi Yosef Engel that according to the Girsam Baba Kama, Lechem hapanim is number 9 in Manas Kohuna. If so, Lag ba'omer is keneged Lechem hapanim. Now, what does the Lechem hapanim got to do with the students of Rabbi Akiva stop dying? Says Rabbi Yosef Engel, V'zeh ki inyan What does that say? Halechem Hapanim. The concept of Lechem Hapanim. Deim Yud Beis Lechamim, which are the 12 loaves, and Yonim La'ached Yud Beis Shvatim. Why do we have Lechem Hapanim? It's to unite the 12 Shvatim, Shabi Yisrael. Ki HaMikdash Hu Ma'achedus Yisrael. The Mikdash unifies Klal Yisrael. K'mavur beber ha'goyla l'maral al oimram. The Maral says anyone who makes a neder, it's like building a bama. You know why making a neder is like building a bama? Because here we have 613 mitzvahs that unite us all. We're all united with the 613 mitzvahs. And then a Jew goes ahead and he says, I make a neder, I'm not going to eat farfel. What did he do that for? Why? Everyone else could eat farfel. Why does he not want to eat farfel? Now he's different than everybody else. He's no longer united with the Jewish people. His personal neder is like he's building his own altar. That is why Chazal say that making a neder is like building a bama. Because ki hamikdash, the temple, ve'isr habama, is in the prohibition of making your own mizbeach, hu ma'achedus Yisrael. Unifies the Jewish people. That everyone should have one unified place for Hashem to dwell, and to come close, bekrevas karbanos, by bringing karbanos. And if everyone builds a bama for himself, that is causing a separation. Look in Chagiga Daf Chafez, where the Gemara uses a lashon shlo yehei kol echad v'echad boina bama la'atzmai, that we don't want Klal Yisrael to be separate one from another. And therefore, one who makes a neder, and we know that the Torah also unifies Klal Yisrael, that everyone has Torah achas, and this guy made his own neder, and he asked what the Torah never asked, he makes his own Torah, so that's also, he's mafred himself from the Klal. So it's like building a bama. So the Mikdash united us, and that is why, if the whole purpose of the Beis HaMikdash is to unite us, that is why Sinas Chinam destroyed the Beis HaMikdash. Because the purpose of the temple is to unite us. If we have separation and we don't get along, then we don't need a temple. So the 12 showbreads correspond to the 12 shvatim. They are always placed in the heichal, in the inner sanctum, before Hashem Tamid, so that the status of the Jewish people should be viewed as united before God at all times. The 12 showbreads sit before God on the table the entire week, illustrating, demonstrating, revealing that that in the eyes of HaKadosh Baruch Hu we are Mi ka'amcha Yisrael goyacha ba'aretz. And what is the agent that unites us? The Beis HaMikdash. L'chein haya sidur halechem b'Shabbos. Therefore, the lechem was arranged on Shabbos. Why on Shabbos? Kedei she'isachtu b'yoser. So that would cause greater unity. Ki Shabbos is also the great unifier. And the purpose of Shabbos is achdus. Like the Zohar says, Raza de Shabbos, Ihu Shabbos is achadas b'Raza de Echad. We are united with the secret of one. And this concept of unity is specific to Klal Yisrael, because a goy is not permitted to keep the Shabbos. So it unified Klal Yisrael. The Alkein Yizda b'mincha Shabbos. That's why mincha on Shabbos we say Umi ka'amcha Yisrael goy echad ba'aretz, because Shabbos unites us. Therefore, on Erev Shabbos they would take out the poles that kept an airspace between the Lechem Hapanim, and they would put it back Matzah Shabbos, indicating that on Shabbos there's absolute unity, like the Gemara says in Menachos Tzadik Vav in the Mishnah and Rashi, that V'zeh, he says, because on Shabbos Klal Yisrael are ma'achid b'yoser through the agent of Shabbos. Therefore, on Shabbos there should not be any poles and any separation between the various breads, which are meramis to the 12 tribes, but all 12 breads are together without any konim, without any hefsek. So therefore, if the purpose of Lechem Hapanim is to be Ma'ached Klal Yisrael, then on Lag BaOmer, which is the day of the Lechem Hapanim, that means Lag BaOmer has the koyach of the Lechem Hapanim Namely, what is the koyach of the Lechem Hapanim? The koyach of the Lechem Hapanim is the koyach of Achdus. So the Talmidei Rabbi Akiva, who are loy noagu kavod zeh b'zeh, they learned the lesson of the Lechem Hapanim on Lag BaOmer. They came together, v'koyach ichud Yisrael yachad. Therefore, the Talmidei Rabbi Akiva are nesyached, as opposed to their state originally, which are meruchak or mefurad zeh mizeh. They were loy noagu kavod zeh b'zeh, and therefore they came together, and the Talmidei Rabbi Akiva stopped dying. So according to Baba Basra, Lag BaOmer corresponds to the Minchas HaOmer, which is the epitome of the Yemei HaOmer. And according to Baba Kama, Lag BaOmer corresponds to the Lechem Hapanim. Marv Rabbi Yisrael, the Rebbeinu Shalom gave me a great gift, because if Parshas Emor is the Parsha of Lag BaOmer, there should be a Remez to Lag BaOmer in Parshas Emor. And sure enough there is. Which Parsha is the Parsha of the Minchas HaOmer? Usvartem lochem imachras hashabos miyoyma v'yachem es oimer ha-tenufa. Which Parsha talks about the carbon oimer, which is corresponding to Lag BaOmer? That's in Parshas Emor. I never realized that before. I wasn't even planning to say that. I was going to go with the Lechem Hapanim. But the Minchas HaOmer is mentioned specifically in this week's Parsha. And lo and behold, what else do we have in this week's Parsha? This week's Parsha is the Parsha of the Lechem Hapanim. Unbelievable. Isn't that amazing? This week's Parsha we have V'lakachta soilas. You will take flour. V'afisa oisa. You will bake it. Shteim esrei chalos. 12 chalos. Shnei esroinim. 2 esroinim yia hachala ha'echas. V'samta oisam. And you will place them. Shtayim arachas. 2 piles. Sheish hamarachas. 6 in a pile. Ala shulchan atar l'fnei Hashem. On the holy shulchan before God. And you will put on the ma'areches levoina zaka. Pure frankincense. And you will b'yom hashabos yarchen l'fnei Hashem tamid. So the parsha of the Lechem Hapanim is none other than Parshas Emor. The Lechem Hapanim, according to Baba Kama, corresponds to Lag BaOmer. Parshas Emor is the parsha of Lag BaOmer. So of course, where is there a remez to Lag BaOmer in Parshas Emor? This is the parsha of the Lechem Hapanim. Oyoim v'noira. And you could say, the Roikeach points out that Parshas Emor talks about all of the Yamim Tovim. It starts with Pesach, then it goes to Shavuos, then it goes to Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur and Sukkos. What about other Yamim Tovim? The Roikeach says even Yamim Tovim Derabanan are merumas in Parshas Emor, because right after Sukkos it talks about olive oil, which is a remez to Chanukah. The Roikeach says Samach Shemen Zayis l'Sukkos. It juxtaposes Shemen Zayis to Sukkos. Remez l'Chanukah. Just like Sukkos is 8 days, and we are goymer Hallel, so too Chanukah is 8 days, and we finish Hallel. The Roikeach says the Lechem Hapanim is a reference to Purim, when there's a mitzvah of a Suda on the Shulchan. But we could ask, where is there a remez to Lag BaOmer? Where is there a remez to Lag BaOmer? And the answer is, Lag BaOmer is merumas in the Lechem Hapanim. How do you like that? Lag BaOmer is merumas in the Lechem Hapanim. Now, I just thought of another chiddush. Rebbeinu Shalom gave me another matana. The Ramah says that Purim and Lag BaOmer come out on the same day. Whatever day Purim is, Lag BaOmer is, right? What day was Purim this year? Anyone remember? How can you forget? Everyone's muted. No? When was Purim this year? Friday. So Lag BaOmer is Friday. Why are Purim and Lag BaOmer the same? So the remez is Peleg Elokim. Peleg is, Pei is Purim. Lamed Gimel is Lag BaOmer. They have the same day. But we could say they're both merumas in Parshas Emor, in the Parsha of the Lechem Hapanim. They're both rooted, they're both sourced in the same psukim. In fact, A remez that you could say, a very interesting remez, is after the Parsha of the Lechem Hapanim, we have the Parsha of the Mekalel, Vayetze ben Isha Yisraelis, and the son of a Jewish woman went out. So Chazal say, where did he go out from? So Rashi brings the statement of Rabbi Levi, Me oilamo yatsa, he went out of this world. Rav Berachia Omer, Mi Parsha Shalamala yatsa, he was coming from the previous subject. Ligleg ve'omar, he mocked and he said, B'yoyim HaShabbos yarchenu, you're going to put the bread on Shabbos? Doesn't a king eat fresh bread? That means next week the king, God is eating bread from a week ago. Derech hamelech lecho pas chama b'chol yom. Doesn't the king eat hot bread every day? Shema pas tzaynen shel tisha yomim b'tmiyah. It doesn't make sense that God should eat cold bread of 9 days old. So the whole episode of the Mekalel was he was mocking the Parsha of Lechem Hapanim. What's the Lashon? Ligleg, Lamid Gimel, a remez to Lag BaOmer. Lag BaOmer being sourced in the mitzvah of the Lechem Hapanim. So you have to be careful that not to mock the Lechem Hapanim, which is the source of the Yom Tif of Lag BaOmer, because the Lechem Hapanim represents Achdus Yisrael. It's the day that the students of Rabbi Akiva stopped dying. They learned the lesson of the showbread, the 12 lechamim that sit before God always in the mikdash, which is ma'ached, Klal Yisrael, and that is what facilitated the Talmidei Rabbi Akiva to once again be noyeg kavod zeh lezeh, and therefore they stopped dying. Marv Rabbi, that's what I have for you today. I want to wish everybody a wonderful day. There is no Igaras Ramban today at 5 o'clock. We're going to continue Bez Hashem next week on Monday. We'll see what the new limud is. Tomorrow, 2:30 is Shimru. You could log in live to our Lag BaOmer event tomorrow evening. Stay tuned for details. And until then, thank you everyone for joining. Wish everybody bracha v'hatzlacha and have a absolutely great day.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.